Hi, my name is Juan Ramirez, and this project is about presidential powers, which is created by myself, Joseph Burgara, and Oscar Mercado. And we're going to talk about how the presidential powers have expanded over time. So the introduction, the initially when the nation was being constructed, the founders gave the president enough power to lead, but also set limits to prevent abuse, like only Congress being able to declare war. In Article 2, however, they gave the president important jobs like being in charge of the military, making sure laws are followed. However, they also made sure that the president couldn't do whatever they wanted. Hamilton argued for a strong but accountable president, especially in emergencies. This balance of power was meant to help the president lead the country while preventing them from having too much control. So in our presentation, we're going to talk originally about the founder's vision, the beliefs and attitudes, the expansion of power, and finally the conclusion of our presentation. So here we go, the founder's vision. So in the beginning, the Article 2 emphasized the U.S. presidency that created a balanced system of government and avoided abuse of power. So during the ratification of the Constitution, Alexander Hamilton argues that a single executive is necessary because a strong executive can act swiftly in times of crisis and can be held accountable easily, which ensures a balanced nation under a system of checks and balances. Presidents can also be held accountable, which ensures a nation under, again, a system of checks and balances. Article 2 gives the president formal powers, such as power to veto, being the commander-in-chief, and ensures the executive branch enforces the laws of the nation. Well, but at the same time, limitations like Congress being the only branch that can officially declare war were included to prevent the president's abuse of just going to war with any country. The balance between powers in Article 2 reflects the founders' concerns about the potential abuse by the president while also addressing the need for a person of power able to lead a nation as big as the United States. Now we're going to move on to the expansion of power. So originally, the president's one of the powers are executive orders and directives. Presidents use executive orders to have a direct effect on policy and guide federal agencies without congressional approval. Executive orders are used in areas like environmental, immigration policies, and economic reforms, and executive orders can at times expand beyond the limits of the constitutional boundaries. So the presidential power has increased through the expansion of the federal government. The U.S. has become more situational and the responsibilities have increased, as I mentioned. The president has taken on a bigger role over a much larger federal bureaucracy. This enables the president to have a greater control over a multitude of government programs and agencies. The presidential power has grown due to the ability they have to act efficiently under pressure during times of crisis. Presidents are usually the first to respond to national emergencies and wars. Although Congress has constitutional authority to declare war, presidents are usually the ones to undertake military actions and act without formal declaration, which increases the amount of power they hold. Presidents has gained more power in complex bureaucracy. They increase size and complexity of the federal government to give the president more control over domestic policy, and the president influences policies from education to healthcare to national security as well. The influence of the media. Technological advancements allow presidents to communicate with the public directly, such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Directing communication shapes public opinions more efficiently, and it allows presidents to progress their agenda without relying on Congress. Tools like radio, television, and social media allow presidents to communicate to people directly. This basically bypassed which shaped public opinions and policy more efficiently. This strengthens the ability of presidents to lead and implement their agendas. Now we're going to move on to beliefs and attitudes. The beliefs, Originally, during the ratification of the Constitution, there was arguments between the Federalists and Anti-Federalists on which type of form of government we should follow. The Federalists in Federalist 70 stated that one executive is necessary in times of crisis as they act swiftly. A single executive provides clear accountability and decision making. Uh, a single executive is constrained by a system of checks and balances stated in the Constitution, which reduces the risk of tyranny. However, the Anti-Federalists believed that the president's powers would be too extensive and could threaten the individual rights and states' liberty. They believed that a single executive would diminish the role of states' governments, and they argued that a single executive could lead to unchecked concentration of power in the hands of one person. The Anti-Federalists believed that the president should have less power to avoid becoming like a king, like I mentioned. They thought the president should be more of a figurehead with Congress having most of the power, and worried that the president could misuse his powers. This raises important questions about how much the power should really have in democracy. And finally, we're going to move on to the conclusion. In conclusion, presidential powers reflects the changes in America's perspective on leadership, democracy, and national security. The founders of America intended for a strong president, especially in emergency situations. They opposing a group of the Federalists, like such as the Anti-Federalists, were afraid of a president becoming too powerful and saw limits on the president's power. The issue that plagues America today is whether balancing the presidential power with the preservation of democracy as correct. Mm, Today, we continue to think about how much